Welcome back to Sportsbeat. Today is September 21st, and we are recording episode 29 in the My Little Falls podcast studio. And as always, I'm joined by our producer and the man who runs the ship in my absence, Dave Warner. What's going on?
When you're absent, I run it?
True. Yeah, when I'm not here.
It was just a drift. Sorry.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back. We're in the train is off the tracks already.
And you left your collar at home.
I know.
Your priestly collar.
So I was on another conference call sometime last week, and
did they say the same thing?
They said the same thing. So now
Rob.
Yeah, they call me Father Rob.
Yep. I was called for a long time Reverend Dave in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Do I even want to know why?
You do.
Okay.
I was doing a radio show
Mm-hmm.
for a classic rock station.
Okay.
Album-oriented rock. And it was a Sunday morning gig, 6 a.m. to noon.
Gotcha.
And they said I sounded like a reverend on the radio.
So you were preaching rock and roll on the radio.
Yeah, baby.
Nice.
TK 102, home of the Gulf Coast best rock and roll. That line got me the job, and I didn't want it because I did it as a joke. I said it, TK 102, home of the Gulf Coast best rock and roll. The guy says, "You're hired." No, I was just kidding. I don't want the job.
Didn't matter. You were locked in.
No. Anyway,
nice.
Yeah.
So you got the Sunday morning drive time.
Yeah. Which everybody's either hungover or in church.
Or both. we had a priest in our diocese, and he got an iPod Classic one time, and it was loaded with nothing but straight rock and roll, and it was about 45-minute commute for him. He moved to Florida, and then I think they retired to Pennsylvania. And he said every week before on his trip in, his wife and kids went to the church that they grew up in, and he got assigned to a new church. He's rocking out to Zeppelin, AC/DC, Metallica, or whatever. I said, "So what do you do?" He goes, "We rock out, we walk in, we walk down the aisle, and we give a sermon." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go!" Yeah, great guy.
He's gonna be fired up by
that.
Yeah,
he did.
Oh man.
Oh well, all right. So we're gonna start with a press box segment. Eventually, we will get a host or a guest rather that works out. It seems to be no matter what we do, we can't win. So
what's this week, Kimosabe?
Yeah,
I'm just adrift in the ship when you're not here. He
runs the ship, but it's if I can get my act together.
I'm not your booking agent.
Really?
I'm not your huckleberry.
Get out. Auto record and get out.
All right.
So in press box, we're going to start with boys soccer. Utica Academy of Science took down Herkimer over the weekend with a final score of 8-2. That game happened at the same time as the football game, so we were getting updates in the score on the press box up there. Just not good overall. Boys are next in action tonight. Actually, after this podcast, I'm going to go to the field, so we'll have another score reported for that. Cooperstown bested Poland 4-1. CVA beat Oxford with a score of 5-0. And apparently, I forgot who it was. It was either Chris Ezzo or Bob Youngblood said, I need to start saying 5-0 because that's how you report a soccer score. This is America. I report a soccer score however I want, and I call it soccer, not football. Football is not soccer. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They were up 3 at the half and then netted 2 more goals in the second. We've got Maxwell Hall and Gerald Wood picking up 2 goals on the day, with Cooper Reed scoring the lone goal for CVA. So that was a nice win for them. Spread the love around. And Frankfurt blanked Remsen 5-0, and Sequoia Valley beat Mount Markham 7-0. Jumping to girls soccer, CVA beat Little Falls 3-2 over the weekend. CVA led at the half, and then they regained the lead 15 seconds after Little Falls tied it up. Little Falls' Shayna Straney was the one that got both goals. Isabel Keleben, I think I may have said that wrong, like I usually screw up most names. Keely Tutty and Mallory Maurer recorded the goals for the Thunder. We've got Frankfurt taking down UAS 5-0. We've got Dodgeville taking down Adirondack 2-0. I can read right. Sequoia Valley blanked Cooperstown 8-0. West Canada Valley beat Herkimer 9-0, and Mount Markham beat Westmo in overtime. KTV had some of the footage, and reading the read-up, that looks like it was a good game back and forth. I can tell you from watching games, never really played soccer in high school, but you can just tell after 90 minutes of no score going back and forth, you're dead.
Yeah.
So to sometimes in losing in overtime is not the worst thing in the world, even though you take the loss, because it's like, it's over.
It's over. I'm tired of running up and down the field.
I forgot what it was. There was a game a couple years ago. It was a girls game. I think boys games, it's sudden death, golden goal. But girls, they play out the full 2 15-minute halves or whatever. The team that ended up winning scored the goal in the last like 2 minutes of the second segment or whatever it was. So in theory, they played almost 2 full games. And I'm thinking it's now 9:30 at night and they're dead. And at that point, you go home and they're just crashing. It's like skip homework, skip food, bad, good night.
Yeah, good night.
Girls tennis dropped a match versus Camden, 7-0. That was CVA girls over there. And then Clinton beat Secoit 3-2. We have a field hockey score. The girls field hockey in Whitesboro defeated Central Valley Academy despite 25 saves from CVA keeper Morgan Russo. The Thunder were unable, to overcome the offense of the Warriors as they dropped to 1-3 on the season. Whitesboro is now 2-4 on the season. Jumping to a recap of the weekend's high school football, we've got Herkimer beat Hamilton, Waterville Hamilton 28-15. That was a great game. I will say, and it continues to bring me, I don't want to say joy because it's the wrong word, but it's nice to see the stands getting packed. Everybody's out and supporting, and it's not just football, even though, football runs everything. Went to one of the soccer games last week. The stands, which usually have 20 people with both teams, are half packed on both sides.
Nice.
And so it's nice to see, now that we're able to do that, everybody out there. It was a great crowd in Herkimer for their opening home game of the year. It was just rocking the whole time. They did Pop Warner introductions there for that weekend, for weekend's game. Just a great time.
I think they need to do some tailgating parties and stuff.
We went to Herkimer, traveled to Onondaga 3 or 4 years ago. Apparently, that's a weekend thing that they do there. Tailgating.
Oh, really?
There is bunches of food. Even some of the visitors are invited if they know about it. I mean,
I tell you what, that brings people out. When I went to see my grandson play in Mississippi, one of his last high school games, football games.
Yep.
The majority of the action was the tailgating section out there in the parking lot and all. It was fun.
We went out on a Saturday. They had a farmer's market thing going on out there. So, they made it a whole community event. That's a really cool idea. Yeah. And I know we do Friday nights here and everything, but there's still ways to weave that into the Friday night fabric. Yep. But still cool to see the stands getting, packed with fans, and not just football, but all levels of sports, which is nice to see. Over here locally here in Little Falls, they handled Sherburne Earlville 35-15. Mountie struck early, and that was it for their road win. So that's nice for them, and seems like they're having a good season too. So it's, again, nice to see local doing well.
2-0?
Absolutely.
Coming back home Friday?
Yep. You going to be there under the lights? Sorry, I had to.
Don't go there.
Don't go there. We're not going to go there, folks. We're not going to go there. Cooperstown squeaked away a win from Weedsport 22-20. Looking at that write-up, looks like it was a good game. Again, comes down to the, fourth quarter that actually does matter, believe it or not. Did you know that there's 4 quarters in football? Huh. Go figure.
Didn't know.
Yeah. Canastota beat Mount Markham 36-6. That's a beat down and a half. CVA beat the Syracuse Institute of Tech 30-14. And Dodgeville opened up their homestand with a win of now to improve 2-0 on the season. They saw Notre Dame over the weekend, and it was 44-26. Noting here, Notre Dame has lost 15 straight games dating back to 2018. And Notre Dame also, and I didn't know this, I don't know how I missed this, has a new coach, Pat Fricola, who was originally from Frankfurt, who is now coaching with the Jugglers. So I must have missed that.
You missed it.
Shocking. And passing along some sad news, we were just talking about it here before we started. JV high school player Tyler Christman of Carthage has died after sustaining a head injury over the weekend at a football game. His father posted the news to Facebook earlier this morning. So obviously we offer our prayers to his parents, Jason and Samantha, his brothers, Zach and Dylan, and the whole family. I will note that they, I forgot where I was reading it. They reported that he was an organ donor. So, heartbreaking all the way around, but not that you even want to even think about losing a child and having a silver lining there, but his memory will be alive and somebody else helping out, which is an amazing thing.
Hopefully several other, somebody else's.
Yeah, that's just, you never want to see somebody who's, I think he was 14, absolutely tragic and horrifying. And I love the game of football, but it makes you think, what could we have done collectively, or they could have done better if it was, I have not actually seen the play. I refuse to watch it because it doesn't matter. The end results, that's the biggest thing. So, we're offering our prayers to him. It was, know a bunch of people up in Jefferson County way, and they are, everybody was wearing red the other day, which is Carthage's colors, and supported the community. And that's one of the best things about living in upstate New York, which is why I'm one of the reasons I get to do some of the things like this is living here is locally. We take care of our own to the best of our ability. It's outpouring of support. And when we have shitty times like that and something tragic like that happens, we rally together as a community, as a region, as a upstate, and it's like no other, and it's nice. So obviously, you know, we'll keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And closing out our high school section, we will note that section's still looking for refs. There's a bunch of games that are getting shuffled around already, and now they're talking about it possibly with basketball. Not so much what we can do here for the fall sports because they're already mid-season for some of them. But if you're interested in being a winter sport or a spring sport ref, please reach out to your local high school's athletic director to get in touch with the section. They likely will have trainings and stuff like that, and you can shadow games and stuff like that for preseason. It's becoming, you know, it's involvement in all levels is suffering. And we're even talking about moving games around. They're talking about having Thursday night high school games here because there's only X number of refs in the section. It's going to turn into a nightmare.
Jeez.
Yep. Jumping to college. So we're going to start with Suny Poly, right next door here in Marcy. Suny Poly has named Megan Valentine as the 4th athletic director for the college and the first woman to hold the post. This was reported last week. There's a quote here from the acting president, Todd Larson. The Suny Poly family is very pleased to welcome Megan Valentine to our institution after she stood out in our search process and became because of her long-term vision for the Wildcats athletic department. Megan's collaborative spirit and excellence in collegiate athletics makes her a great fit for our culture, and we look forward to her advocating for our student athletes and athletic staff as she builds a strong legacy that her predecessor, Kevin Grimmer, established. Kevin retired 2019, 2020, or stayed around until the search process was complete. Valentine comes to Poly after serving in the same position at Hillbart College, and this is one thing I thought was actually pretty cool. While there, she increased their student-athlete enrollment by 25%. She led the planning of the development of a state-of-the-art softball and baseball complex that opened earlier this year, and there's a new track and field with new turf complex that is scheduled to open in 2023. So pretty cool. We'll also have to see if we can get her on the show, talk about her experience, what brought her to apply, and
fun.
Maybe we can actually get a guest that, you know, can get here.
Or can stream.
True, because, you know, we live in 2020
it's really
now.
Easy.
Yeah, you hit a button and you sit in front of your thing and you put a nice little background on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Herkimer Generals continued their blitz, and as of yesterday, they had played 3 road games in 6 days. So I hope all you girls are getting miles on your Generals cards for those, he said jokingly. They picked up their first loss of the season, but bounced back with a 7-0 win over Corning County Community College on Sunday. They are now 5-1 overall on the season. Generals goalie and former Magician Kirsten Gay made 9 saves to earn her first college shutout. So congratulations there. The Generals play her HVCC on Wednesday, tomorrow, 4:30 tomorrow. Yes, at home. Finally, a home game. Jumping over to the men's side, again at Herkimer, they were also on the road and picked up a 3-1 win over Fulton Montgomery Community College. This lifts the men's squad to a 3-0 overall record. They didn't waste any time and got the first goal within the 5 minutes of the game, and that was it. And they rolled on and packed in 2 more. So great to see that. And Herkimer is now ranked number two in the NJCAA D3 national poll. They were on a 9-day break. This game was played last week, and that ends tomorrow, where they will also be playing HVCC at 7 o'clock at the stadium. So they got a bit of a doubleheader, men's, women, 1 bus trip, or however that works, because COVID. Excuse me, what? College football is still in perfect form for Utica. The Utica Pioneers were at the stadium, and they beat Western New England University, say that 3 times fast, with a score of 37-28. The Pioneers had a late surge in the 4th quarter because that's exactly what they needed. They were down 4 points. They rallied to put 2 scores on the board, and the defense stepped up to seal that deal. Great overall game. Picked up a little bit of the broadcast before my cousin's wedding on my phone over the weekend. It just looked like an awesome game. Again, crowd looked like they were engaged. They really needed that stand. They looked like they were, I don't want to say down and out, but they just looked like they didn't have energy, and they needed to find it. And even the commentator was saying that they needed to find something, and they found it. 2 beautiful passes, put them into striking range, and defense stepped up to seal the deal. So cool to see that.
Where is Western New England University? Is that out of Springfield?
I believe so. It's out that way.
Yeah. My mother was the executive secretary there to the Grand Poobah, whatever he would be.
Really?
Called the college president or whatever at the time. Yeah.
Nice.
Back in the day.
See, look at nice little plug there. See, small world. And they came here instead of them going there because last week
3-hour drive.
Yeah, Pioneers were in New Jersey, I think, last week. So
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
That's a cool little tidbit of information.
It is.
Yeah. Syracuse basketball released their ACC schedule today, so go check that out and get your tickets for the games this year. We're going to jump over to D1 football. Dave's Longhorns got a nice win over Little Rice University this weekend with a final score of just 58-0.
Maybe they should have started with Rice. Give them a little run up to the SEC. And a little rice in their bowl.
They had I was watching I was all over this weekend. My cousin's wedding was in Canisius Lake out towards the Finger Lakes. And then on Sunday morning, I had a baptism in Cambridge. So I went from one to the other and zipping all over New York State. And I picked up Sports Center late Sunday. They were recapping the game and they were doing, all of them. And they did this one. And it was like first 2 minutes of the game, they scored. And I'm just thinking Rice University, they're going to get pummeled. But yeah. So as I said, we had a wedding this weekend. My cousin got married. So congratulations to Deanna and Mike. And of course, all weddings seem to be on a Saturday, right? And college football is going on. Well, Bama was playing Florida. So we get through the beginning of the ceremony. And of course, I've got my phone and I can get games anywhere. So I'm sitting at the table watching Bama and Florida at the Heartstopper because I'm that ass.
Kind of like me last week watching the Inspiration 4 launch. I have my phone right here.
Did you really?
They made fun of me the entire show
you
on
didn't
Scott's
give a damn.
show. I didn't care. And they're asking, why are people going up? Who are these people? It was like, told Scott it was sad that they didn't know anything about it.
That's really sad.
It was actually.
It was a really cool launch and cool landing.
Oh, yeah. I was telling him that Rob the nerd needed to be here to back me up.
No, I would have backed you up 100% because I was in mission control with it behind when we were recording our podcast last week. I had the live streams going.
Yeah, I saw it.
So that is cool stuff to watch. It really is.
It was.
But technology is a great thing. So I was watching the game and I had actually at the final 2 minutes when they went and Georgia was coming down. They had to do a stand. They punted, and I'm like, I need to leave because I'm about to start jumping up and down or freaking out. So I went.
That's outside. When they say I do, and you jump up and go, yes.
That part was already over. Nothing to do. We were in the middle of dinner. I'm like, I'm gonna leave now.
Yes, go. So and they're like, we're just having dinner.
It's the alcohol. It's okay. Coming from the guy who doesn't drink. So that would have been great. But great game. Heart stopper of a game for Bama fans. But the Tide rolled to a 31-29 score. So close game. Great game.
It's not called a roll. It's a roll when it's 58-0.
Yeah, but Tide.
That's a roll.
Okay, but we're 3-0, so that's roll Tide.
Well,
okay. Yeah. And we'll end with some big shakeups. And this I haven't seen in my at least memory moving into the top 10 for the AP poll. So obviously rankings are coming out. The college playoff committee hasn't met yet. And so there's new top 25 rankings. So you got Bama, Roll Tide at number 1, Georgia at number 2, Oregon at number 3, and Oklahoma at number 4 with Iowa rounding out the top 5. Local favorites like Ohio State, number 10. Enjoy the New Year's bowl game. And Notre Dame at number 12. Also enjoy the New Year's bowl game. Again, these are the AP coaches polls. The playoff committee hasn't done their thing yet, so huge grain of salt to be taken here. But yeah, so college football. I love the pageantry. I think
it's great.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get in trouble for it, but that's okay. I like college football a hell of a lot better than I like NFL.
I agree with you.
Yeah. You want to do a quick commercial?
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll do a quick commercial. We'll come back with some professional and end with a fun story.
Well, hey, we'll do that.
Visit My Little Falls and stay connected with the latest news, information, and events in the city and the area. Our mission is to generate interest in the community and connect residents in a more meaningful way by facilitating deeper conversations about how these stories will shape the future of the Mohawk Valley. Join thousands of weekly visitors who stay up to date with feature stories, interviews, videos, our event calendar, and print publication, the Mohawk Valley Express. It's about timely local news for the community, keeping citizens informed about important issues, telling about the people who live and work here, and giving locally owned businesses the opportunity to reach a very targeted audience of locals and tourists alike. It's a whole new form of media-rich content developed specifically for today's mobile lifestyle and listeners. You can download our iOS app in the iTunes store, listen to our country music streaming radio station, or sign up for a weekly newsletter. Stop by today at mylittlefalls.com. You'll be glad you did.
All right. We're going to, you got to love the break.
The breaks are nice.
Yes, they are. So we're going to jump into the NFL, and they are obviously, this is, I believe, week 2. So that's always fun. Our Cowboys got a nice win against the Chargers, 20-17. I just got to say, and I know there's a bunch of people at the Dallas Nation that are going to disagree with me on this. Mike McCarthy's got to go. Watching some of the players come off the sideline, you can definitely tell that there is, there's not the chemistry that you would think that's there. And everybody can say, like, I remember when the same calls were being made for Aaron Boone. He's got to go. He's got to go. I just don't see it getting better. And football is one of those things. Once you lose the locker room, you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
Baseball, there's a lot of time in there. There's a lot of metrics. There's different coaching staff. You can have a good guy, bad guy. There's a head coach. And Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator, I believe, or defensive coordinator that he stayed after Jason Garrett was gone, and everybody assumes he's the next one. They should have just made him the coach now.
Yeah.
Because you can clearly see all the players going over to him. McCarthy wants to run his own thing. It's not working. Some of the stars are not getting what they want, Zeke being one of them, and it's not going to work. I'm calling it now. I will say I saw a really cool thing with the Ravens game, and this just goes to show you the amount of respect and trust Harbaugh has for Lamar Jackson. It's fourth quarter, time is under a minute, I believe. They need to get a first down to end the game. They're ahead by 1 point against the Kansas City Chiefs. Somebody dubbed it to see what the coach is saying. And Jackson's running over to the sideline. And Harbaugh goes, "You want to go for it? You want to go for it?" And they have another angle come in where Lamar goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, let's go for it." It doesn't look like he even called a play. He trusts his guy to do it. They needed a yard for first down. I think it was 4th and 1 or something like that. They go for it. They push forward, and that's the end of the game. It was the coolest thing I think I saw all weekend in NFL. Trusted his guy, went in to get it done. He got it done. They win the game, and they knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought that was just a cool moment because usually you don't see that. The coaches want to control everything that happens. Yep. He's got his guy. He knew he needed to get a yard. He let him call on the play, or they talked about do your thing. Really cool.
Like it.
Yep. Green Bay got a win that everybody was saying they needed last night over the Lions. Final score there was 35-17. Rodgers looked like Rodgers, and it all is meshing together. So anybody who was counting them out, bad timing for that. However, let's just say Detroit is awful because they're 0-2, and they just look like the Orioles of the NFL. So
why did I know you were going to say the Orioles?
Don't
did you
wait.
Write that down?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't write it down. So
I knew it was coming.
Don't worry. We'll get to the Orioles, and I'm not happy with them either. But we're going to end our NFL section talking about the Bills. So the Bills shut out Miami over the weekend, and it was a great division win for them. And so, they deserve to celebrate that because you got to squish the fish and all the pageantry in the division, and Bills Mafia is just absolutely insane, and I love every friggin' moment of it. But let's pump the brakes for just a second. Miami looked absolutely awful all day. Twice they were inside the 15-yard line and turned the ball over for no score. Bills fans are starting to sound like 1990 Dallas fans screaming, "We're going to the Super Bowl." Let's take a break. And I can say that as a Dallas fan who was alive in the 90s, albeit 5 years old.
Doesn't count.
True. Let's not get cocky because that's the worst thing that you want to do. You want to follow the Bill Belichick model and take the lesson of we're on to Washington because that's who they play next. Everybody is hyping these guys up, and I don't hate the Bills. I don't like the Bills. They're here in New York. I love all of my friends and family that are Bills fans. They need to pump the brakes because all talk radio and sports media did was blow the Bills up. Maybe it's deserved, but when you know that when you put a ring on your finger and a trophy in the cabinet at the end of the season.
Yeah. Do they give trophies anymore? Or do they just get the bling on the ring?
Wide left. So let's if they do, I will admit they look like they got the team to do it.
Yeah.
Everything's moving in the right directions. They've got a lot of things figured out. The stupid mistakes that the Bills made, but the one thing that the Bills have notoriously not been able to do is close out a season.
Close the door.
So let's on to Washington because they're going to go into there and let's just pump the brakes and stop sounding like Dallas fans because I am a Dallas fan and I can't stand the people that say we're going to the Super Bowl after 2-0 and then all of a sudden we end up 8-8 and we're not even in the playoffs. So let's hold the line.
I just always come back and say cheerleaders. I never say Super Bowl. That's all I ever say. Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and I win.
I would love to watch a scrimmage sometime against some of the cheerleaders because I just caught
You want
one.
the cheerleaders to scrimmage each other?
No. Well, I mean,
had all kinds of fantasies. Jeez.
But talking about the routines that they do, because there was a show and I was flipping through one day and they got to the end and it was talking about their regiment and they were talking to their personal trainer. I've jokingly said that cheerleading's not a sport, ha ha ha, and we all busted people.
Yeah, it is.
These girls could literally kick my ass and not think twice.
They're going to look for you and kick your ass after the show.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But people that think that, again, maybe not the high school level, and they all do a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. But at that level, what they're doing, it's a full-time job.
It is. Yeah.
And
no, it really is.
And I mean, they've got a workout regimen there. When players are reporting at, 8:30 in the morning to practice facility, the cheerleaders are reporting at 8:30 to their practice facility to get ready. They got a whole workout. They're doing a bunch of community service stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I never knew that, just my ignorance.
I think in order to educate our audience, we need to get one of them on the show.
I will gladly send an
in
email.
studio.
Yes, I will gladly send a email out to it because I'm sure we can find it on a website someplace.
Look, as Dallas Cowboy fans.
Yes, we are a Dallas Cowboy, fan podcast.
Boys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and so I'm telling you,
I wonder
most people won't ask.
What's the worst they're going to tell us? No.
Yeah.
I've been told no a ton of times on everything. So what the hell?
Yeah, but that's the 1 out of 10 thing in a bar. Just forget it.
Oof. Torpedoes coming at me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking fire over here with the AR-15 we talked about.
In the break.
Don't know about. Yeah, they don't know about.
Yeah,
They're not going to. That's okay. All right, so we're going to now talk about baseball, and this is where I go on at least one of my soapboxes for the day. So AL East, we got the Rays that continue to command the division, and we're getting towards crunch time to the end of the season, so that's a really good place to be. Red Sox are now in second place with 7 games back. That breaks my heart. To hell with the Red Sox. Blue Jays are in third at 8.5 games back. Good for them. Yankees are in fourth at 9 games back. Get your shit together. After a loss to the irrelevant Orioles, who are 44.5 games out of first place. First off, Yankees, you lost to the Orioles. It's your own damn fault. Orioles, just mail in the games. Go to wherever in the Bahamas now and make my life a hell of a lot easier. Now I hope that I believe they got at least the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. I hope they beat them too.
You're spanking the former dog player there,
That's okay. I don't care.
Don't do that to him.
Why?
Because you got to root for him at least.
Who?
I forgot his name. Don't do that.
Who?
He had the first shutout there at Baltimore and
oh yeah. Yep.
What was his name?
Yep.
You're the sports guy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just producer Dave.
Producer Dave. He does.
Yeah.
You do a good job though.
Yeah. No,
But no, I mean, and we talked about earlier, the only thing that they're going to do at this point of the season is play spoiler. And it sucks that they did it for the Yankees, but hey, it's a division rivalry and that's the name of it.
Yep.
So if you want to win, don't let them beat you. I mean, that sounds stupid, but it's true. Over in the NL East, the Braves continue to hold their first place in that division. Again, a good place to be. A little more closer over there. So you've got the Phillies in second place at 3 games out. You got the Mets that are still in third place at 6 games out. Marlins are 15 games back, and the Nationals are 18 games back. So here's one of the things I was going to talk about with one of the ideas that I had, and I think you're going to like this one. So I was talking with Alex Cooper of the Utica OD. He was at one of the games, and we were just shooting the bull about baseball, and he's a big baseball.
Alex and I used to work together.
Did you really?
Yeah, he worked at the Recorder. He was a photographer for the Recorder in Amsterdam.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah. Alex, Alex was in Mohawk when I was in Herkimer, so we were in high school, I believe, around the same time. So we've known each other because I lived in Mohawk but went to Herkimer. So he's a big baseball fan. He's actually in Boston tonight for the game because he's a Mets fan and the Mets are playing Boston.
Nice.
So go Mets. Never thought I'd say that, but so over this year, and it's happened a couple other times, but this being the 20th anniversary of 9/11, they had a Subway Series on the weekend. So the Yankees are playing the Mets. And we got talking, and it was his idea. He said, wouldn't it be awesome if that was a staple on the schedule every year around 9/11?
Oh, that would be awesome.
And I said, you know what? I said, I got to get you on here sometime to talk about it, because he had talked about one time about first game back when they played, Mike Piazza put the home run right into center field, and that was the game. And that's just what they needed. And it was, I believe, the first sporting event in the city area after 9/11 happened. So we got talking about that for a little while, and what a cool idea that would be.
Yeah.
Put it on the schedule. So Major League Baseball, if any of you are listening, which I hope you are, we would like to see you put on the schedule every year as a permanent fixture, a Subway Series around 9/11. Be a nice way to commemorate with sports in New York City. It's not far for the first responders to go, and it's a great way to honor. So yeah. Formula One is on break this weekend, thank God, because I was at a wedding and I don't want to miss anything in the second leg of the season. They are in Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix this weekend, so make sure your cars are not getting hacked. Yeah, I did. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to do it. I wasn't. Yeah, it's not. I could.
There we go. It
wasn't cued.
That's all right. Start time is 8 a.m. on Sunday. Lots of behind the scene action and movement going on for the season already. I'm going to try to get Ray Biggs on here to back and forth. Drivers is talking about where they're going next season. Some new packages with engines being talked about next season. It's not even over. And again, I'm a nerd, so the tech behind that and the amount of money and just they've got analysis for everything. It's just the coolest thing in the world. Sticking with the racing, we've got NASCAR. They were in Bristol this weekend, and Kyle Larson picked up his second win of the postseason. And this was the last race of the first round, so it was an elimination race. So if you are a Tyler Reddick fan, an Eric Amarola fan, Kurt Busch fan, or a Michael McDowell fan, your driver has been eliminated. So now they move in from 16 to 12, and then obviously the next 4 races. So this is the new order after points and finishes and all that jazz. So in order, we've got Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell, and in last place, Kevin Harvick, who just squeaked in after the points. It wasn't that much between whoever was 12th and 13th, so just squeaking in. So that's the order, and NASCAR is in postseason form. I know Kyle Stevens has been at a bunch of the races, getting a bunch of different pictures and stuff like that. So again, follow him, and we continue to post his stuff, so go check that out. So we're going to end with a personal, some sad news here. Sherwood Boehlert, longtime congressman, passed away today at 84. So while this has absolutely nothing to do with sports, it's a personal story. He was the Oneida County executive from 1979 to 1983. And then did 12 terms in the House until he retired in 2007. He was a huge advocate for the Clean Air Act, which has definitely helped some of the people in the Adirondack Park, and he was dubbed the Green Hornet for his work. He also was instrumental in keeping Griffiths Air Force Base here in central New York over in Rome, and was one of the leading causes for the expansion of Rome Labs and DFAS also here in Rome. So here's the fun story, and you'll find this. And we've talked about my grandparents both passed away last year, and my grandfather passed last. And I've always, me and my grandfather, obviously I love my grandfather. He loved me, but we had that butting heads kind of thing. And it's funny because I've turned into my grandfather. So
it's always that way.
It is.
It's either your grandfather or your father or something.
Yeah. I have a day timer. I drive a Subaru, all these little nuances I thought were stupid. I've picked up.
Yep.
So he always claimed that he knew people, and we always in the family thought he was just totally full of shit, like straight up full of it. So I remember one night in 2007, he came to me and he said, I was going to a function. I needed to look presentable, and I needed to make sure I had my dinner jacket. Like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. So we drive up there, and I got to drive. That was the thing. I said, okay, this is great. So we drive up, and it's Boehlert's retirement party up in Utica. And we're there for a few minutes, and they put us at our table, and my grandfather's name was Richard. And the congressman comes over, Dick, how the hell have you been? I haven't seen you in a while. And I was like, wow. So the congressman sits down. He knew my grandmother's name. My grandmother was not able to attend. She was working. She was public health. So she would have been working at that point. And they just sat there and talked. And I'm just thinking to myself, wow, my grandfather's not actually totally full of it. So they talked for a while.
And they talked, and then as he left, you saw him slipping the Benjamin.
right, yeah. But it was funny because he had said he had known that, and Sherwood, and he talked about his times where he helped him out on some campaigns, and they did some fundraising ideas and stuff like that. And obviously this area with the passing of Sherwood Boehlert, great local advocate and a statesman, the likes of which I don't think there are many people left like that. Because he was respected on both sides, and the politics of today were not the politics which he had or many of the people in Congress had at that time. So while we don't get political as much as we can help it here because we're a sports show, it's definitely a loss for the area and the country. And you've seen people from all over the spectrum on the Republican and Democratic side come out, outpouring of support. I mean, Chuck Schumer, when he reported it, was in tears, and that's not something that you see anymore. My friend,
well, you see it all the time. It's just not genuine,
right? That's fair. That's fair. So, but again, great local advocate and a statesman. So our thoughts are with his wife Marianne, his 4 kids, and his whole family as well at passing. 84, great life. His name is in legacy will live or throughout his names, I believe, on the Boehlert Transportation Center at the Utica Station.
Is it?
And I believe his name is on one of the major labs at Griffiths Air Force Base, which is rightly so.
Right. Yeah.
So anybody we're going to end the show. Anybody who's listening that would like to come on for an episode or has an idea that they'd like to talk about, please reach out to us at sportsbeat@mylittlefalls.com. Trying to do some outreach and get some more content that you want to see. So please feel free to reach out. Coaches, staff, and players, please, I encourage you to please put us in your sports reporting again at sportsbeat@mylittlefalls.com. For updates, highlights throughout the week, find us on Facebook at Sportsbeat with Rob Drumm. For all your local sports news and our podcast home, find us at mylittlefalls.com. For Rob Drumm, here with Dave Warner, we will talk to you next week.